Hi friends, it's Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is one that I've been really looking forward to filming because we are going to be taking a look at YA fantasy books coming out next year, 2026, which sounds crazy to say. I can't believe it's already almost 2026, but here we are. So today we're going to be looking at 10 YA fantasy books coming out next year that caught my eye that I am highly interested in. And I hope that some of these will catch your eye as well and give you some books to look forward to in the upcoming year. And so far, it's looking like 2026 is going to have so many amazing books that are coming out, and so I'm really excited. Also, this list is not going to include any sequels. It's only going to include standalones or first books in new series. However, there are a lot of sequels next year coming out to books that I really loved. So let me know down below in the comments if you'd be interested in a 2026 anticipated sequels video. So moving on, I'm going to talk about these books in order of release date from soonest to latest. So book number 1 comes out on January 6th and it's The Swan's Daughter by Roshani Chokshi. First, I just have to say the cover of this one is absolutely gorgeous. And also on the cover, it says a possibly doomed love story, which just intrigues me even further. This one follows two main characters. One of our main characters is Prince Eris, and because of a poorly worded wish to a sea witch, all that one needs to rule his kingdom is the heart and hand of the current heir, and that is him. And these words over the years have been taken literally. And so for him, marriage could mean his possible death if he marries the wrong person. And he becomes even more worried about this when his parents end up announcing a competition to win his hand in marriage, because now he can't tell who is interested in actually marrying him or who is just there because they want power. But then he meets our second main character, Demelza, and she is a Veritas Swan, so that means that her song makes people tell the truth, and she has been forced into hiding. Eris promises to provide her with refuge if in exchange she will use her truth-telling song to sort through his potential brides for him, and our story goes from there. Book number 2 comes out on February 3rd, and it's Carnival Fantastico by Angela Montoya. So this one is a romantasy, and our main female character is Esmeralda, who is posing as a fortune teller at a traveling carnival. And she is aiming for the lead role in the carnival's big top show. And then our main male character is the boy who broke her heart. And he ends up showing up at the carnival one day and warns our main character that the carnival is more sinister than it appears. And he used to be in the army, but he left because he is now trying to prove that his father is corrupt. And so the two of them end up making a deal. Esmeralda will help him find evidence to prove his father's corruption, and in turn he will help her secure the lead role in the carnival. And so our story goes from there. Book number 3 also comes out on February 3rd, and it's a practical guide to dating a demon by Hannah Reynolds. And this one is a cozy, whimsical romantasy. In this one we follow Naomi, who is a scholarship student at a magical school, and she just wants to focus on her studies, but she keeps being bothered by people who want to date her. However, these boys aren't really interested in her. Instead, they're using her as a way to get access to her influential aunt. And so as a way to discourage these suitors, she ends up telling them that she is betrothed to a demon. And of course the story is a lie, but then one day a demon shows up in her room and says that he is betrothed to her. And so at first she thinks he is lying, but when she tries to banish him, it doesn't work. And so she's kind of stuck with him, but it isn't too bad because he likes to bake and he has a thing for home decor. And also Naomi has bigger worries too because she is trying to decipher a scroll, and also the city's magic has suddenly become unstable, so those things are kind of more of a priority. However, as she translates the scroll, she starts to find out that the demon and the magic problems going on in the city might all be connected, and so our story goes from there. So book number 4 is the book on this list that I am the most excited for. So this book comes out on February 17th, and it's The Sun and the Starmaker by Rachel Griffin. And Rachel Griffin has 3 other books that I've all read that I adored. They are The Nature of Witches, Wild is the Witch, and Bring Me Your Midnight. And since I adored all of these, I'm really excited for this one. And this new one actually does not follow witches. And this one, it just sounds so whimsical and cozy, and I'm going to read the description to you because I don't think my own words could do it justice. So description reads, nestled deep in the snowy mountains of the Lost Range, the village of Reverie is a small miracle. Beyond the reach of the sun, Reverie is dependent upon the magic of the mysterious Starmaker. Every morning, he trudges across a vast glacier and pulls in sunlight over the peaks, providing the village with the light it needs to survive. Aurora Finch grew up on tales of the Starmaker's magic, never imagining she'd one day meet him. But on the morning of her wedding, a fateful encounter in the frostbitten woods changes everything. The Starmaker senses a powerful magic within her and demands she come study under his guidance. With her newfound abilities tied to the survival of the village, Aurora is swept away to his ice-covered castle and far from everything she's ever known. The Starmaker is as cold and distant as the mountain itself, leaving Aurora to explore his enchanted castle alone. Yet the more she discovers about the sorcerer, the stronger their attraction grows, pulling her closer to secrets he refuses to share. But deadly frost approaches, and Aurora must uncover what the Starmaker is hiding before she is left in an endless winter that even the sun cannot touch. Like, that sounds so good. I'm so excited for this one. Book number 5 comes out on March 3rd, and it's Midnight on the Celestial by Julia Alexandra. So our main character in this one has the power to summon the dead, and she's always used this power to entertain guests at her esteemed family's galas. And so she believes that her future is pretty certain, it's pretty secure. But then she ends up failing her realm's trial that determines whether you keep your magic or not. And so now she is deemed too dangerous for society. And so now she has 2 choices. She can either give up her magic, or she can go and serve on this magical cruise ship called the Celestial. And on this cruise ship, staff compete for guest votes in order to try to get a retrial. And so, of course, she chooses the option to go on the cruise ship. But when she gets there, she ends up finding out that this cruise ship might be hiding some dark secrets. So she starts to investigate those. But as soon as she starts to investigate, a guest ends up turning up dead, and she ends up being framed for their murder. And so now she has to uncover the truth of what is going on before she ends up being the next victim of the cruise ship. Book number 6 also comes out on March 3rd, and it's Her Hidden Fire by Cliodhna Sullivan. So this one takes place in a world where there's dragons and where magic is an elite privilege. And currently the ruling family is facing a dilemma. Their son must prove that he has magic, or their whole family will be cast out. And our main female character in this is a servant girl who loves this boy. And she ends up discovering that she actually has magical powers. And this is very shocking because it's rare for girls to have this power, especially outside of nobility. And so she finds this out right before the prince goes to take his test. And then when he is taking his test, it's clear that he's going to fail. So she ends up making the decision to pretend that her magic is his. And so as a result of her actions, the 2 of them end up being sent off to a magical academy. And so at this academy, she has to hide that she has magic from the teachers and the people there, including a handsome young man. And so our story goes from there. Book number 7 comes out on March 31st, and it's The Faraway Inn by Beth Durst. So in this one, our main female character, after experiencing a terrible heartbreak, decides that she's going to spend the summer helping out her great aunt at her bed and breakfast in Vermont. However, when she gets there, it's not quite how she was expecting it to be. She was expecting like a cute, cozy little inn, but instead is rather run down. And so she decides that she is going to help fix up the place. And so she enlists the help of the groundskeeper's handsome son to help her. But the longer she stays there, the surer she is that there is something strange about this bed and breakfast and the guests that are there. And so she ends up uncovering a magical secret about the inn. And so our story goes from there. Book number 8 comes out on April 14th, and it's The Demonic Inventions of Aurelie Blake by Rutherford. So this one takes place in a world where the very act of innovation is forbidden. So there's no art, no music, no engineering, because if you do these things, you end up conjuring a demon from the other side. And the greater the innovation, the more dangerous the demon is. However, that has not stopped our main character, Aurelie, from inventing things, just made it slightly more difficult. And so she makes small inventions because those only create small demons that she's able to get rid of by herself. However, she yearns to create something bigger, something greater. And then in contrast to that, our main male character lost his parents to demons when he was very young, and so he has devoted his life to upholding the law and trying to prevent any more senseless deaths from demons. And so as a result, he joined this organization called the Hunters. However, one day a mysterious figure ends up offering Aurelie a job that she can't refuse that involves creating like this magnificent invention. So she ends up taking the job, and her decision to do so ends up affecting the entire world and changing everything. And so our story goes from there. Book number 9 comes out on November 10th, and it's Blood of Silver by Allie Nguyen. So in this one, our main female character has just buried her mother, and on the day of the funeral, this strange boy shows up hinting that he knows secrets about her mother, and so he urges her to follow him, and she ends up following him into another world. And this is a world that is governed by 6 different magics. There's light, fire, earth, water, nature, and space. And this mysterious boy that she followed is actually the crown prince of this kingdom. And she learns that her mother was actually a space mage and a princess that protected this kingdom from demons by sealing the portal that they came from. However, the portal is starting to weaken, and so the prince in the kingdom believe that our main girl has the same powers that her mother has and will be able to help them save their kingdom. And so our story goes from there. Book number 10 and the final book on this list comes out on June 30th. It's When Dealing with Dragons by Dana Swift. So in the world of this book, bonding with dragons gave humans the magic to craft metal. And our main character, Farron, in this is a copper crafter, and she dreams of becoming a dragon veterinarian. And she loves dragons, and she hates anyone who would exploit them for their metals. That includes the love interest of this story, James Murphy, who is a dragon racer, and his family are silver crafters, and they represent the worst of human greed and dragon abuse. And he's also her biggest competition for the college scholarship that she desperately needs. However, James ends up interning at her family's dragon sanctuary for the summer. And this is really bad because Farron is hiding a secret that could not only change her life, but their society as a whole. But James is also hiding a secret of his own, and that is that he has had a crush on Farron for years. Now Farron must navigate working aside him without getting too close to him because it could put everything in danger. Alright, so those are 10 YA fantasy books that I am really looking forward to that are coming out next year in 2026. And I hope some of these caught your eye as well. Let me know down below if you will be adding any of these to your TBR. Or let me know if there is a YA fantasy book coming out next year that you are really looking forward to that I did not have on this list. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!